Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration cooperated with them duly to supervise a very historic transition on the 7th of January 2025. Notwithstanding the MPP's goodwill and support for the NDC leadership and the president-elect at the time, they looked on while their members took the laws into their hands to attack, terrorize, and violate Ghanaians. The NDC and its grassroots had ignored all calls to stop the violence. Instead, violence, the NDC party was acting. They abused and attacked electoral with their leadership, tacitly encouraging its people to go and rampage these state institutions and security installations. And the strange thing was that the police could not do anything under the pressure and the inducement of the NDC leadership for their thugs to attack these security posts. The NDC thugs attacked the following institutions after President Mahama took office. Now, outside of the ones that he did following the elections, especially in the parliamentary elections in about some 12 or so constituencies which they know they lost, but then wanted to insist the result to be declared for them. After His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana, took office, they carried on, and his administration watched and did nothing. I want to tell you about the attack in the New Jubbing Municipal Assembly. This happened in broad daylight. The government, then His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, did nothing. The thugs from the NDC, again, they stormed Tor, the Tema Oil Refinery. They sacked all the employees and lock up the premises. And the NDC and President John Dramani Mahama did nothing. The NDC thugs again attacked Cocoa Board offices. This happened in broad daylight, and the NDC and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama did nothing. The NDC thugs again attacked the Ministry of Energy, threatening the workers there, threatening the lady who was manning the reception that if she would not cooperate with them, they would sack her from the place. The President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, did nothing. His party did nothing. The NDC thugs again burned down police installations in Adra and Atebubu. The NDC, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, was aware, they knew about it, they did nothing. Again, the NDC thugs attacked the Eastern Regional Offices of the National Health Insurance Authority, the National Service Secretariat, the School Feeding Secretariat, the TVET, and the National Lottery Authorities. These were happening in broad daylight, yet the NDC and President John Dramani Mahama did nothing. Now, I wanted you to follow these instances and see where it culminates to a point where the people think, the NDC thugs think that they could not be stopped, they could not be touched, and that they are invincible, that they can do whatever they want. And their government, led by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and their party, led by Chairman Asedu Nketia, and the General Secretary, Mr. Fiavi Fifi Kwete, would do nothing, and they carried on. There have been many instances of violent conduct by the NDC members with full knowledge, as I indicated earlier, of the party leadership and the president-elect at the time and now President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. They knew what their party members were doing, but they edged them on with their silence. They edged them on. And as we all know, they say silence is consent. And in this particular instance, they needn't say anything. They were just watching, and their members knew what message they were sending. Carry on, and indeed, they carried on with the violence. I am aware of, and probably you two are aware of, some letters they issued belatedly. But between you and I, we know those letters were just for the optics. They didn't issue them in good faith for their members to stop the violence. It was just for you and I to think that they were doing something. was skirmishes, it was not honest, it was not intended to stop them. Ladies and gentlemen, the NDC must take responsibility for this gruesome murder of the 11 or so people that happened in Obuasi. And incidentally, the people that were killed, very painfully, happened to be members of the National Democratic Congress. The NDC, in this instance, failed to protect and save the lives of these Ghanaians who are members of their party on the occasion when they died. They failed to protect and save them because they failed to lead, they failed to show leadership, they failed to tell them the truth, they failed to caution them that in this country there are laws. You can't just up and go anywhere just because your party has won an election and therefore terrorize and take over private setups as though they were yours. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, the implication of this conduct by the NDC people, because we are all mourning, which is why I'm wearing black today, we will not go into it, but they have that particular conduct, the one that happened at the AGA premises, has real implication for foreign direct investment in our country. And that is something the NDC ought to know. But they preferred to allow their politics to go ahead of the national interest. And so they failed to caution and advise their members as the lawlessness possessed their political party. It spilled over, and in Obuasi on the 19th, we saw the rather regrettable, the rather avoidable, and the painful exit of those members of their party. So in essence, it is the failure of the NDC leadership, including His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, in their legitimate duty of cautioning and advising their people to desist from the lawlessness that has led to the painful loss of lives of these young people. The silence of President John Dramani Mahama and the NDC indeed urged their thugs on in the rampage that we see, which unfortunately culminated in the loss of lives that we're talking about. They felt invincible, as I said earlier, untouchable and unstoppable. The bloodshed in Obuasi could have been avoided had the NDC cautioned their members against the violent rampage after the December 7th election, which they won. The grassroots, ladies and gentlemen, of every political party, and I want to make this point very clear, the grassroots of every political party, for that matter, any member of a political party will take directives from the leadership of the party, no matter what the situation. So if it were the case that the NDC called on their members to desist from the violence, honestly, they would have done it. But because they failed to do that, their members took the cue that the silence of their leaders meant that they carry on. They carry on, and which is the reason why we are where we are, and sadly, having to talk about the loss of lives in this case. The NDC is running around talking about some loss of lives, which is painful in elections. We want to let them know that the loss of lives, whether they are their members or not, they are Ghanaians, and this is regrettable, and this ought to be avoided. And His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will have to take responsibility for this squarely and fairly. It is because it is their inactions that led to their death on the 19th of January. We would like, ladies and gentlemen, to call on the Ghana Police to conduct its investigations and ensure justice is served expeditiously. We also want to warn the police not to engage in any backroom deals with the John Mahama administration to shield anyone in this matter. We need to emphasize that point because from every evidence we have discussed with you here, the responsibility for this unfortunate passing or slaughter of our fellow Ghanaians who are members of the NDC in Obuasi on the 19th of January 2025 is as a result of the negligence of the NDC and the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And so, they shouldn't engage in any backroom deals to kind of discolor the investigation, make it appear as though that it was an unfortunate thing, something that has happened. We don't want the police to engage in any backroom dealings with the government to cover up for anyone, so that we don't see justice in this matter. It shouldn't be the case that they are their members, so they will cover this up. We are interested in this matter. Ladies and gentlemen, we are interested in justice for these NDC members, and we hope His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana, will not shield or attempt in any way, shape, or form to clear anyone who is culpable in the supervision of the slaughter of these Ghanaians who are members of their party. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming. The Ayer Kanini say, December 7th, yetu aba, nyina yenim say Ghana yetu aba December 7th, no. The akoba nyina ni say MPP, abano ankwa mayen, eba presidential no a NDC for ne winnie ye papa John Dramani Mahama no winnie abano. And parliamentary so winnie dodo. And in terms of MPP, Kandini, Frank Tuni, His Excellency John Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, a consider. Yeah, dear, a bin sida. In terms of consider. In Tinaya, sir, Sabane Sadi, and Yasumji, said the about one of course from Jimu, now resort in the binds in 10 terms of MPP, Yankasa internal coalition, Yanchama, AC, and Fan, and within Sabamba, Yankasa. Ejra now so a share numbers only who say Uncle Yamain and the Ebekan say Papa Mahama winning enti the amano. Nanado Danko Kufado are buying Ejra now so support to Yema transition a course so January 7 Papa John Dramani Mahama ebedia dia or ene or no president of Ghana. Yet to abani we no one media for one cameras and a capture said the NDC for a start ya. Ye bru nipa isi fo ane ye bro mo ye come office ne ye hye nyoma police stations ne ye hye pink sheet aye ade a edi adanse ye se wona we win na so NDC for afa ne nyina no mu etete nyoma basa ye from mo se ombra coalition wa ba makogina ho se ye be ya ade na fe de omo tax aba na manfo krokra tuo abranche bi a wo mo ko nim and then you see a man appointment why young man no the two pump action then come lawlessness, complete recklessness. And I'm going to take Ghana Abraham will win election. Yenina ni manye ku na mo ye ya ba na yenina koto na mo wini asumdue yenkoso na Ghana enkureni. But omo de sa basa yo yi e de hya ase sa ko sie obi anka ho hwe. Ye papa John Dramani Mahama no ye fun no otie no ohwe. Omo party mpanifo aye fun no mutie no mo hwe na de course wa enti umrante o party ni mo no abete omo ho ase so ade yi omo party na aba enti de omba ye bia omba tumi aye oma ya kosi mo mpanifo anka hwe enti ababa ye suban a abeda omo so tomo sori a aban eduma bia no makoto ahye omo so mumpie me sure say mo hwe de si Kumasi Sports Stadium a me refi kura man kanka ho Sadia no wo hwa enye ba ko fo afatuo no nam office pie Sadia e bi nsi da empo se bi esi atwemu a enye se ye be koso sa NDC form penifo anka hwe the former president John Dramani Mahama no wo hwe no wo tie sa obeteki power nso so say ya na NDC for edite ne akọ to ne aka kire mo se mumpie ba ko amete ye VRA omo call ye junior staff wo ho efre senior staff se mombra afi de ya ba na aba they were issuing instruction to the senior staff as though say company no abedi omonsa yanka hwe NDC for ye hwe ha ama omomrante no terrorize Ghana for terrorize government institution omo terrorize police station mo ka ye dwura ye hye ne drobe yanka hwe police anye hwe Papa Dampare say or Ghana how so ni how NDC for e de mrane show mu nsem be member okrom how bi ani how ba ka bibi o metie enti sabe suban wo party ni mu dia yenso so yete Obuasi yenso be ye bi mokai omo women organizer meeting a oyeye e ka kire omo say oh Ya buy back the muti say I declare your papa Mahama na bebia mo pebia mo take you mo fa chisel ne hammer na mo call gold mine ho. Yenya Captain Smart. Ono the end dey say akwakoye nsem bi ntim pese meka but ono so kase bi oka ye mo media fo nsem bi amokeka na akwakoye say bebre na say oh your party we party we na emra constitution dey amamo say Muni asemono mona moye the fourth realm of the estate no. Mu making sure say mu be hold politicians accountable no. After the bebre na o media ni mu abejoin politicians no ne kama NDC ne ka omo ya de yenka ne rationalize it. And a kofa bae. Enti mranti a mo ye Ghana for do omo ye NDC for there. But enam say sa subane course so fi December 7th. Sa kosi obi anka hwe yanche obi a yampanish obi enti no mo so say obi a omo nyina ye na yanye hwe a yenso yenko ye bi na fofi anto ata na yante asempa nipa be 9 10 11 ene ye ku omo e bi si new month enso so mrante ni bi so ko se ko to show omo so say ya ban aba nti ye ba baje sa ane ye tena mamu Fourth Republic democracy ye sa ane ye no nyemra ne ye de ye ben this for ye ha momumrate no eye say ombetumi afa bibia no mu na yante asempa sa eyi ko bae nti de efrem a na ye kan de say NDC mpanifo from your papa Asiedu Nketia oko general secretary Fifi Kote na president His Excellency John Dramani Mahama omo negligence na akofa we aba omo tacit support for the lawlessness that possess omo party no omo ntumi anka ho hwe yes say abene ebu ne say yes peni ofie na yes say ya na ewi na anka na e kan na anka wefo a omo so ka ho bi bajo nya sa oma ye hwe ha wo party nim o man nim His Excellency John Dramani Mahama wan ye ku ye to aba na yi wo afede sa violence ye free him no mo ntuma nka hwe na ada no omo members akwakogu esan say ya the violence na hye omo party ni mu women organizer ka kire omo say ya nya we nipa mo de mo take the law into mo nsem na mo nkọ bebia mo pebia na de mo pebia mo nkọ fan free ho sa na tie ena ya ntia sampa enti ye frɛ His Excellency John Dramani Mahama so mo take responsibility na omo take responsibility no so no ma nya omo say omo ni police for baka kwotena ho ne akeye kataso mu aso na bone e call so e kun nipa san krofo no omo ye NDC for de but omo onanfofo omo ye MPP for omo wo krofo a I say omo emfa party ho a omo so eni omo e wo twaka enti so omo wu a nye NDC for na ahwere de nyina Ghana for na ahwere ti mo ko e kataso mu aso bia emfa asemu yi nkoye foolish case na nipa na ewu no ye baako nipa 11 na ewu enti ye kase police for nyo madwuma kokurudo so emre bi atwa mu no mo kasa bebre ate enne no omo nya adwuma me enti ne yenhwe yenso ye ni die kire papa na omo make sure say bebia asem no beko no omo adi bone no ye ma emra no ani omo ndi ni pepepe na ehon so ya frɛ ye papa John Dramani Mahama ya ka kire ne say police for no beba ne ho aka so ye be moamo aso akata so a na ana se ono ne beko omo ho a onka ehunu se ye ni die kire ye mpese ye bete se otu anama obi e de akova obi ana se otu anama obi e de akle obi omo ma police for no nye investigation no na result wo mu no onfambra na Ghana fo nyina ne ye nhwe ne ye mfa nsu ade na omo adi bone no ye ntwe omaso da mo nyina sese mo bai. I hope say there's no question. Just two questions, yes. Well, I'm saying I'm more able to only the NA2E. Say, Ebema Ghana phone, you know, to say a dear course, and yet na ade no ekoso nyina no nkwa abram nyina ye de kan ka kire NDC for say momo ene omo nkrofo no nya kasa kire but omo aye enti ye ni bedi ekire na investigation enmu anu di sem abeba no na asotwe wo mu no ye behwe se omo a edi bone no ye betwe omo so na aye mfato ho ama afoforo a ahwe a omo ba sua sa de bone we efiri omo ho no na omo gyae se be ya ade we ebi nsibio nti anamo ebetuo no eno no ya se party ebedi ekire pa na ya make sure say ebra no ebe ye adwuma Debi there manubusu American ne say omo a akoye ama nipa ewu saa no saa for no police for investigation no ema twe saa for na so eno na ya asem adapo no so we dia wo kan ye no asem na ye focus on na asem so na ye fending kom
That's behind power. In 2016 happened, and into 2017 happened. How should we stop this? Well, I don't know the day where blame game, no, not a shift back, not go for that,
yeah, ejina hai mati dia okana se ejina enye blame game ne ye no kura ne ye ka se nipa ewu police for nso say ye investigation omumfa emunsembra ene ya ka kire papa John Dramani Mahama say mon ko e kata so mo mu aso so bese sa de etutwa on make sure say on e di bone sa asem yi mu no e be twa maso na asem we etutwa bin sibio Ghana ha ti ni abre pa say be make sure say justice will be served in this matter na omo a e di bone no e be twa maso pepepe.
Are you missing the party made a mistake by insisting the anti-vigilante law was passed? Because your party members, some of them, when you speak to them, they feel that you are restraining them so much and they would want to react to what the NDC is doing.
Yeah. There Abraham come here sure some matter, but the opposite carry this ana MPP you see or member your party ni mu and na omo de omo ayefo na NDC for to ahye nkrofo so ayebro omo emra na ye di adwuma MPP ati ase say emra tia say party go vigilante ni de aka no but NDC for emfa mra nya adwuma eno ne yehu enti no mu nyina Ghana for masomo amanimu na asem we nyina si enti mu ma mani nko ho mu nka bi media for mon kabi asem no enkoyi a mon kabi na say they will have mo logos me hu mo studio morning show na asem na ma dane asem ni but say yes na be asem a ye nyina na etimu Ghana ha enti mo ma ye nyina nka no kure yemfa no kure nya adwuma na Ghana sumdue nkoso ntra because election e ko December 7 before I be call no bia aye tense say ye ntia sempa but e ba ye de ne ba corner sumdue so senkanye NDC for na ma omo members etusha manfo so terrorization nioma because election way will be one of the most peaceful elections in the history of this Fourth Republic enti ebesre say media for no yesre mo bodwuma ne say enkoyi a mo beka but na say mu de akwakoye say enkoyi a mo mpese mo beka de enti aba ne sa no ye enti ase ye ne mo be adwuma. They are making sure, say, they are making sure, say, the political class is held accountable. Say, hold us accountable. Say, NDC for hold them accountable. But media may share logos, no. Now, say, dear, about the gospel. Or ye bonnet kuramon can march you preaching for. Yes, sir. So, making sure, say, ye day and the cre, obey Duma, not Ghana, acronym. To me, that's it. I'm saying question in there. What about only our Kasa? And I've been patch up in here. If you are on an Abi or hunting. Okay. Okay.
Election, MPP party, city candidates, EG2 winter. Who just say no till a man, MPP for NDC for react here now because so a lot of police centers, a lot of police centers now.
Please.
MPP phobia. I didn't answer.
Well, Mpacho, yenye kom kakra. Yenye kom kakra. The attorney say, "Ade ye odia na ye de mawa, unko hu bio." Ensa na te. Ade ye odia. Say yesi yemfa ma wana obeko. Yesi odia de amawo. Yesa support wa ma wa transition aba be di usa fully. Nti ntokwa okui ase ne say. Nyansa bi enim, sebi. Nyansa bi enim. Nyina so bi enim. Ase ne zifo ekokokosa. MPP nke yenye sa. Enti ye baba Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia concession oye no. Papa. Say be boa ma democracy. All can okra no can say tension na e wo wiase nyina ye nyina ye ko election mu na manfo suro no. Oh yes, our concession no. E manoma ba fo mpreko pe. Ma manfo hu no say Ghana ya gi democracy ato. Na ka say NDC fo so dey side democracy kura be eduma no manfa nye. Enti ni nyina e de yemfa so NDC fo. Yemfa so ai papa John Dramani Mahama. Any e papa say don keti ane be hu say all your moves be the all you say ye hu but ni nyina no boni o madi I say leadership as o mu show man show no and no na akofa we mu nyina aba ama kire say omonye democrat o ma kire say aba ye 2 years odwe so de tumi ma omo no omani anso na omonya ya anka komo de patapa na anka ba beje o man no but Ghana for e ma eni na ho na NDC for de omonya nkrofo a e say e judge omo say making sure say be so jagu omo chem ntira be stress mu media no mu mwa yen enkoye say MPP before the year kan mu nyina me enka because Ghana no e nyina ye de na e be gina ha NDC for asem de year ka o NDC for na akoko lusu omo nkwa de year ka ho asem ade na MPP ye na because etia oyonko ho a etieduam aye ohawo a abeto omo so no ade say Ghana ni na Ghana for na ewu no ye fa ne say yankasa ye nkrofo na ewu no kasafo no be enche bia no be start abadwane MPP because party no mo no was I when say nkotoko SCC na say mu be 2 days ago bole president Nangasa Krum ya hyehyɛ nioma hyehyɛ gya ya won say ono Nangasa ne family house kura ahwa on betu ahye ho what they say nkrofo yi nye democrat NDC for nye democrat mo ye patapafo yen nananom at the beginning of this fourth republic and the excess from international pressure by ya no moji tu mo say be democracy oti to mo kasa omo no nya ya anka patapa no nkwa no betra Ghana okay me dey try to papa John Dramani Mahama say omo no ya de patapa na twa mo fruma anya sa no kai enti we wi ni aba asomdwe mu so sa de patapa ena de aba ti yesre say media mama so mani ene maso di asem ye chi ya make sure say ye nuan mo mawi ya yi ombenya justice da mo nyina ase one a question
Is it about post-election and I say post-election violence and I say obi na ewu ema you no eye the omo ya omo police station I need that clarity because you can say any na post
na say onia so na we journalist no be sekisa clarity of me one na say we check na we want me say one na we journalist and I onye journalist Tobo Jai say ask a question. Maybe say we are journalists. Ote grasa. Me say Ote say BBC sir. DNC. Come at me DNC.
Munji bumko. Obi anko pe de akomde na onye obedi o obi anko abodam Munko. Listen, say AGA, no, let me tell you, if you guys don't take care, we will chase you out of this country, I swear. My careful, we will chase you out of this country. Because listen, move it to the cyanide hole. Almost 100 meters square. Aqua to South Africa. There be over me. Cyanide square. 100 meters square. Sami and San to South Africa na. Na nye ti bonko som penifo di en so na bona. Ana se bona. Yenum di en so a ebe na nipa betwa niama wenum. Mo betimi aye South Africa. Enu ni ade a me pese na na do te ase. Minister of Lands and Natural Resources say AGA say Obuasi and the youth of Obuasi rise. Mo sorry. If you say when you go ni bi mpa ndidi a ebe kakra wo kwati bewu.
And your pastor was the name of the Lord. Who is the way? That's what that came out of the old man. And I had to do it for us. But young countries, honestly, the people want to get on to the old man. But what's the president of Obaya? The state of what's coming from the show. One man, no be able to attack 2,000. Police people are fighting. Power not ever. The power never. Who protected by the state of one state? Small scale, there is money. The civilian is saying, "I come here."